As for all the episodes of Martyrs of Speech, also this one is an apolitical video. We condemned all form of violence, on all sides, at all times.
Because what you're about to hear isn't about party or ideology, it's about two brothers who believe in words powerful enough to move nations.
John F. Kennedy, the president who told a generation to ask not what your country can do for you.
And Robert F. Kennedy, the Attorney General who fought for justice, equality, and gave hope to the unheard.
Both silenced by bullets, but never by history.
Their ideas lived on, their words still echo.
This is Martyrs of Speech.
Before they were icons, they were brothers. John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Robert Francis Kennedy, two sons of a powerful Irish Catholic family from Boston.
Their father, Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., and mother, Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, built a dynasty on public service and ambition. Out of 9 children, it was John and Bobby who would carry the Kennedy torch into America's defining decade, the 1960s.
John F. Kennedy became the 35th President of the United States in 1961. Robert F. Kennedy served as his Attorney General, and later a senator from New York, before launching his own presidential campaign in 1968.
Both brothers stood at the crossroads of a transforming America, the Cold War, civil rights, and generational change. They believed that speech could move history, and for that belief, both were ultimately silenced.
Born in 1917, John F. Kennedy's life looked like a script for modern leadership. Navy hero in World War II, congressman, senator, and then, at just 43, the youngest elected US president.
On January 20, 1961, he delivered one of the most remembered inaugural addresses in US history. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That wasn't just rhetoric, it was a call to civic participation, a reminder that freedom survives only when voices engage.
His presidency unfolded in the storm of the Cold War, the Bay of Pigs, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and at home, the rising presence of the civil rights movement.
At first, JFK was cautious on civil rights, but by 1963 he broke through the political silence, declaring it a moral issue. He asked if an American, because his skin is dark, cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place?
That was a challenge to the nation and to power itself. He turned speech into moral weaponry, but the cost of speaking boldly in a divided America was pretty high.
November 22, 1963, Dallas, Texas. A motorcade, a rifle shot. The youngest president in US history, cut down mid-journey.
Lee Harvey Oswald pulled the trigger. A man angry at society he believed ignored him. A defector, a believer in his own twisted ideology, chasing recognition through violence.
Psychologists later called him passive-aggressive, delusional, hostile to authority. In killing Kennedy, he didn't just end a life. He silenced an idea that leadership could be eloquent, moral, and human.
Bobby Kennedy, born in 1925. He was the quieter brother, the one who didn't seek the spotlight but wielded it with purpose.
As Attorney General, he fought organized crime, corruption, and racial injustice. He sent federal marshals to protect freedom riders and enforced desegregation orders in the Deep South.
He believed that enforcing law wasn't enough. Society had to change its attitude. He said justice meant giving voice to those who were unheard.
By 1968, he was running for president. His campaign felt like a movement for the poor, for minorities, for those disillusioned by Vietnam.
But again, a voice of empathy in a divided era became a target. June 5th, 1968, Los Angeles, California. After his California primary victory speech, Robert walked through the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel.
A 24-year-old Palestinian immigrant, Siran, stepped forward and opened fire. The motive, Bobby's open support for Israel, including a promise to send 50 fighter jets, announced almost exactly a year after the 1967 Arab-Israeli War.
Sirhan was convicted, sentenced to death, later commuted to life in prison. His parole was blockaded decades later, but the damage was irreversible.
RFK was 42. His death ended not only a campaign, but a new moral language in American politics, one built on compassion and justice.
Two brothers, two assassinations, 5 years apart. Both dared to speak when silence was safer.
JFK inspired, RFK mobilized. One gave America a dream of service, the other fought to make the dream inclusive.
And both paid for it with their lives. The 1960s, the decade of speech, protest, hope. Well, it ended in echoes of gunfire.
Their murders were not just acts of violence, they were acts of silencing. Voices that could have steered America away from cynicism and fear were erased.
It's crazy how both brothers embodied speech as action. They just didn't talk about freedom, they performed it. And that's exactly what made them dangerous to people who fear change.
Yeah, like their assassinations were random, they were the backlash to idealism. When you humanize politics, when you speak to unity, you threaten the tribal systems built on hate.
And the timing, too. Cold War paranoia, racial divides, ideological hysteria. The words were trying to heal fractures in a world that profited from keeping them open.
In today's world, it is different. We see silencing through algorithms, outrage cycles, political violence, but it's the same story. Speech scares people who can't control it.
Exactly. And from an IR perspective, this is Human Security 101. Free speech isn't just a liberty, it's the backbone of stable societies. Once you silence dialogue, violence becomes the language left. And when the files were declassified of the assassination, we knew and understood a lot more. And we also understood something that the CIA truly understands this themselves. And by the way, if you want a video about the declassified files, leave a comment down below.
Yeah, that is very true. However, their legacy is the echo. Every time someone speaks truth to power, that's their voice living again.
And to conclude this quick video, well, JFK once said, "The rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened."
And Bobby added, each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope.
Two ripples, when joined, can still shake the walls of silence.
The Kennedys may have been silenced, but their words keep teaching us the same truth. Freedom dies when speech does. That was episode 2 of Martyrs of Speech, the lives and assassinations of John and Robert Kennedy.
Two brothers, two voices, one message. Freedom dies when speech does.
Next episode, another figure, another story where words became targets and conviction came at a cost.
What do you think? Should we remember them as politicians or as voices that define the generation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we're reading them all.
Subscribe, follow, and stay tuned. YouTube, Spotify, Insta, X, wherever you listen or watch.
Keep questioning, keep thinking.
Stay informed, stay engaged.
Peace till next time.